got a really cool story that I want to share with you. So I'm Eric. I'm 56 years old. I'm kind of taller. I'm 6'2", 225 pounds. I've spent my entire life in the gym, and now I work from home as an online coach and trainer. You know, I've been an in-person trainer my whole life, and the last 3 years I've just been doing everything online. Love it. It's great. Gets a little quiet around here sometimes, so I recently picked up a few shifts at a CrossFit gym. I used to be a CrossFit gym owner. I had, I think, 11 or 12 different certifications, and I went into this CrossFit gym and I told them who I was and my experience, and they hired me on as a part-time coach in the evenings, a couple nights a week. So anyways, I've been going in there for the last 5 months. It's been great. I just moved to Charlotte a year and a half ago. Because I work from home, I don't really know anybody, so it's been great to get plugged into this athletic community, okay? And it's been great to be around CrossFit again. I don't really CrossFit much anymore. I'll do the occasional CrossFit workout, but for the most part, I just do physique training, you know, more of a bodybuilding style training. Anyway, so I go there and I show up about 45 minutes early. I just wanted to get to the gym early that day. I wanted to beat traffic. And I show up to the gym, and it's a huge gym. It's got to be probably 10,000 square foot gym. And the owner was in there working out. It was like 95 degrees outside. The garage doors were open, super humid. He's working out hard, and his little son, who was about this big, I don't know, probably 5 years old, I'm guessing, was kind of working out alongside of him, getting all sweaty. He was a really strong, really tough kid, and felt really good. He was working out next to his dad, right? Dad's young, probably 30 years old, 32 years old, something like that. And here I come in the gym, and I think he was done with his workout. He was catching his breath, and I walked up to him, shook his hand. Hey man, how's it going? He was basically just training in the gym, him and his son by themselves. It was an empty gym, you know. And so we chatted a little bit, and I think, if I remember correctly, he got a phone call or something and was like, hey, hang on 1 second. And so I'm standing there, and I'm looking at the little kid, and the little kid's looking at me. And this kid, he's shirtless, and he's got little muscles everywhere, and and he's staring at me, and I'm staring at him. And I kind of scowled at him like this right here, and he kind of scowled back at me. He's looking up at me like this, and I'm like, go like that, and he's scowling back at me, and we were just kind of having this funny kind of cool moment, and I went like this. I brought my fists up like that, and he brought his fists up like this, and we're just doing this, and the dad's on the phone. He's not really paying attention, and I'm kind of going like, hey, you want a piece of me, you know, you little guy? And he's like, you want a piece of me, big guy? And it was just so cute and so funny. And so then I started walking towards him, and he was like, oh my God, this is going down. But it wasn't, I could tell he wasn't freaked out. You know, his big muscular dad was right there. And so I kind of stepped into him, and he stepped into me, and I shifted gears, and I acted like I was terrified of him all of a sudden. And I threw my hands up in the air, and I started running around the gym. And he thought that was hilarious to see this big 225-pound dude running for his life from this guy. And we ran laps around that gym. We were running and running and running. I would let him catch up, and then I'd pretend to notice, and then I'd freak out again and run even faster, and then I'd let him catch up. And we're going zigzagging. We were cutting corners. It was so funny. And, you know, the dad was just kind of like involved in his phone call. He wasn't really paying attention, I don't think. And we just got to a point where I stopped and started wrestling with the kid, okay? I don't know this kid, but we just connected. It was awesome. And, you know, little kids, sometimes they don't know the rules about wrestling with older people. And he started trying to punch and that kind of thing. And I hear the dad go, hey, no punching. And that's when I realized the dad was kind of keeping an eye on the keeping an eye on the whole thing. And so the kid immediately listened to his dad, and we just started wrestling. And I'm rolling over him, and I'm picking him up, and I'm rolling him over me. And I'm pretending like, like he's really giving me a hard time, And I was like, I didn't realize you were so tough, and just stuff like that. And he was just so aggressive and so strong. And I look over at the dad at one point, and the dad is just still on the phone, and he's just grinning from ear to ear, And I thought it was so cool. And this probably went on for, no joke, probably like 4 or 5 minutes. And then we stopped, and I said, hey, you win, you win. You're so strong. You're so tough, little man. I said, time out. I'm done, man. You got me. And he stopped and runs over to his dad. And the dad and I smiled at each other. And, it was just, that's how I raised my kids, I was very physical with my kids when they were young, especially when they were young. We were always wrestling. We were big on bear hugs and that kind of thing. And it just felt so good. My kids are 24 and 25 now, and now they've got their purple belts in jiu-jitsu. They've been doing it for 7 years now, I think. And I think they're going to be getting their brown belts soon. And I don't like to wrestle with them anymore because it hurts. You know what I mean? Like even my daughter, a brown belt in jiu-jitsu is not fun to wrestle around with, And so I don't wrestle with my kids anymore, but I brought them up that way. And it was just, I don't know, it just made me feel young again. I think I'm 56 now, and when you get in your 50s and you start slowing down a little bit and you start feeling things, you don't bounce back as quickly from workouts, or maybe you don't train as hard as you used to and things like that. It's just the wearing down, the slowing down of the body. But I try to always be 10 steps ahead of that. I know what age does to the body, and so I eat a certain way and I train a certain way, or certain ways, I should say, to where I can handle all kinds of situations. And to be able to run full tilt with a little kid who has literally limitless energy, and to be able to hold my own against that kid's energy, it just made me feel great. And I think that's part of why I'm doing this Barberic Life YouTube channel. Is I want people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe even older, to reassess their life and say, you know what, I may be getting older, but I'm not out of the game. I can still live a full life. My best years aren't necessarily behind me if I train a certain way and eat a certain way and, get proper rest and recovery. Why can't I continue on as an athletic version of myself and be strong and healthy and fit? So that's my message. That's what I help people do with my business. I help people in their 40s, 50s, 60s who feel like their best years are behind them, get back in shape again and love life again. It just fuels me. What I did with that kid the other day, I'm not a grandpa yet. My kids are, like I said, 24 and 25. It's around the corner, One of them is already married and they're talking about having kids, and I'm going to be a grandpa one day, and I want to be one of those cool grandpas that can get on the floor and wrestle with my grandkids. I want to be able to take my grandkids for hikes and teach them how to move quietly in the woods like my dad did with me. I want to be able to help them build tree forts and pillow forts and stuff like that when they're little. And I want to be an active grandpa, and I don't want to be a stick in the mud. I want to be there for them. I want to be there for others, and I want to live a full life. And so I guess I say all that just to say, rolling with that kid, running around, wrestling with him, that was awesome. That was awesome. I really enjoyed it when my kids were little. I super enjoy it now that they're older. It's incredible, but I miss those days, and I want to encourage you, no matter where you're at in life, are your best years really truly behind you? Who says? You know, who's writing those rules? I was thinking about it the other day. You know, I grew up in the 70s, and so our television shows that we would come home, it wasn't like today. We had, I don't know, 2, 3 stations. I grew up in Ontario, Canada, and you know, I was watching things like All in the Family, okay? And if I remember correctly, I remember Archie Bunker. I think that actor was in his 40s, late 40s. And if you look at how people can look now in their late 40s, like we're changing the game. We are changing the rules. We are literally writing new rule books, and nutrition is getting better, supplementation is getting better, peptides have entered the scene. People are getting their testosterone checked and their estrogen and progesterone and things like that. And I just think that we are, us older generation, we are paving a new path that has not been paved before, you know. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. And I hope you follow the channel, maybe even subscribe to it. I'm going to be giving a lot of training advice, but every once in a while I'll share a story like this right here that has to do with getting older or lessons learned. You know, sometimes painful lessons, sometimes fun or funny, maybe even funny lessons. So stories, lots of stories. I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories. Like I said, I grew up in the 70s and we didn't have the internet. And, you know, going over to somebody's house to visit was a big deal. And I remember just sitting around and hearing stories from adults, these amazing stories. And that's always stuck with me. I just want to be a cool, older, safe adult to the next generation, to the current generation. So anyways, that's it. That's my story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And please consider following, subscribing, whatever it's called. I'm new to this stuff. And yeah, thanks for checking in.